page 5. And the prayer book's already up here. Open to page 4. Really? 10 seconds? Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Shabbat. Rabbi Malcolm Cohen is downtown celebrating Shabbat with little ones. I don't know who the little ones are, but that's fun. And we welcome all of you who've joined us virtually, as well as those who are here in our sanctuary. So this is the last Shabbat before Rosh Hashanah, and as has been our tradition, we sound the shofar. And oftentimes we're reminded that the shofar sounds to waken us up to come back and return to God and to do proper repentance. But this time, for this last call that Larry is going to be sounding for us, it's a little bit different. We're asking for God to awaken and allow us to repent and to return to God. So the one who answered Abraham on Mount Moriah, he will answer us. The one who answered his son Isaac bound upon the altar. The one who answered Jacob at Bethel. The one who answered Joseph bound in prison. The one whose forebears at the Sea of Reeds. The one who answered Moses when the Sinai rose up like a sword. The one who answered Aaron when he brought a sin offering. The one who answered Pinchas in the midst of the congregation. The one who answered Joshua at Gilgal, the one who answered Samuel at Mitzpah, the one who answered David and Solomon in Jerusalem, the one who answered Elijah on Mount Carmel, the one who answered Elisha at Jericho, the one who answered Jonah in the belly of the fish, the one who answered Hezekiah in his sickness, the one who answered Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah in the fiery furnace, the one who answered Daniel in the lion's den, the one who answered Mordecai and Esther in Shushan, the one who answered Ezra in exile, the one who answered all the righteous and the merciful, the whole heart and the upright, God, please answer us.
You ready? Tekiah, Shavarim, Teruah, Tekiah Gedolah,
Yashikoah.
We love to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I love to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. Tekiah, your turn. Tekiah. Shivarim, your turn.
Shavarim.
Teruah. I love to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I love to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. Happy, happy, happy New Year. Happy, happy, happy New Year. Cha-cha-cha.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Larry. That was beautiful. A reminder for those who are joining us virtually, if you have names for our Mishnah Barak list or our Kaddish list, you can send those directly to JJ on Zoom or in the comment section on whatever virtual platform you are on. And now we continue in Shir Hanshama, our prayer book on page 4, and then the blessing for the candlelighting is on page 5. So we begin on page 4. And we invite Andy Elkins to light the candles this evening. Oh, and Chuck's coming. Oh, because it's not as far.
Where the world is dark with illness, let me kindle the light of healing. Where the world is bleak with suffering, let me kindle the light of caring. Where the world is dimmed by lies, let me kindle the light of truth. May I be worthy of this honor as I strike the match and kindle the flame that illumes the heart of all the world.
Page 5.
There you go. Oh, 5's the other way.
That way, yep. Light the candles. Andy, light the candles.
The candles, dear.
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshonu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivonu ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. We continue in the middle of page 6. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria letzurishenu, nekadma fanav b'todah. Naria, naria, letzurishenu, bizmirot naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai.
Please turn to page 8. We turn our attention toward a joyous ceremony of happy lovers. Our Sabbath bride enters our lives at this moment, and we're overwhelmed by her beauty, her gentleness, and her love for us. The Sabbath bride is resting in every heart. We smile softly as she enters. We breathe easily as we welcome her, and we close our eyes as we feel her gentle kiss upon our brow.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, ishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'litila. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי. כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. We rise and welcome Shabbat. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Please be seated. A psalm, a song for Shabbat. It is good to give thanks to Adonai, to sing praises to your name, O Most High, to sing of your kindness in the morning and your faithfulness each night, with a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together. Your works bring me joy, O God. I shout for joy at your handiwork. Everything you have made is great. Every thought of yours is profound. The righteous bloom like a date palm. They thrive like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they flourish in the courts of our God. In old age, they still produce fruit. They will be green and fresh, as if to declare, Adonai is upright, my rock in whom there is no wrong.
צדיק אתה מר יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה יזכה, איי איי איי. צדיק אתה מר יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה יזכה. שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. צדיק אתה מר יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה יזכה, איי איי איי. צדיק אתה מר יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה יזכה. תודנו ונדסבה, שנמרננים יהיו. יגיד בשער ישר אדוני, צורי ולא עוולת בו, איי איי איי. צדיק אתה מר יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה יזכה, איי איי איי. צדיק אתה מר יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה יזכה.
Let's take a precious moment to think about something that happened during this past week that you really greatly appreciated. Top of page 12. What was but moments ago the substance of our life has now become memory. What we did must now be woven into what we are. For on this day we shall not do but be. We're all to walk the path of our humanity, no longer ride unseen through a world we do not touch and only vaguely sense. This is what Shabbat must be for us, not to tear the world apart, not to wrestle with time, but to let warmth and care and light come forth from deep within ourselves.
Yitkadash v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'alma divra chirutei ve'amlich malchutei b'chayeichon u'vyomeichon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael bagala bagala ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבא מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה
בריחו
לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. ברכו את אדוני המבורך ברוך אדוני המבורך המבורך לעולם ועד.
Please be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim b'chokma poteach sharim v'itbuna mishanei itim u'machalif et hazmanim u'misader et hakochavim b'mishmor tehem barakia kirtzono b'rei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshek b'choshek mipnei or umavir yom umevi laila umavdil ben yom uvein laila Adonai Tzavaot Shemo. El Chai v'Kayam Tamid Yimlok Aleinu Leolam Va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Hamariv Aravim. Together at the bottom of the next page. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and commandments, judgments and laws. And therefore, eternal our God, when we lie down, when we rise up, we will meditate on your teachings. We will rejoice in your Torah and your mitzvot forever, for they are our life and the length of our days, and we'll meditate on them day and night. May we always be aware of your love for us. We praise you, Adonai, who shows love to your people Israel and all the world. Please rise.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. You can be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadivarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת.
All this we hold to be true and sure. You alone are our God, and we, Israel, are called to your service.
We are witnesses and participants in God's covenant for justice and peace.
You do wonders without number and marvels that pass our understanding.
You keep our feet from faltering. You help us survive our daily struggles.
You did wonders for us in the land of Egypt, miracles and marvels in the land of Pharaoh.
We are free to lift up the fallen and bring healing to those suffering in our midst.
And when Moses, Miriam, and the people stood at the shore of freedom, they sang this song to you with great joy.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה. זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו, מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גא ישראל.
We continue at the bottom of the page together. Help us to lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Be a shield around us, turning away enemies, disease, violence, hunger, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. Shield us beneath the shadow of your wings, for you are our guardian and deliverer. You rule us with mercy and compassion. Watch over us as we come and go in life, so that we may live in peace now and forever. Spread your sheltering peace over us. Holy One of blessing, your shelter of peace is spread over us, your people Israel, over Jerusalem and all the world.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו, last chance, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
A quick reminder for those who are joining us virtually, again, if you have names for our Mishabaric list or Kaddish list, you can send those to Jim or on the comments section of your virtual platform.
To JJ, right?
JJ, what did I say?
Jim.
Jim?
Change your name.
What does the first J stand for? Jim, right? No is good enough. Okay. My fault. Please rise for the Amidah, page 19. Thank you.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Belohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Belohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Belohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevii Geula Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah Rav lehoshia, Mechakel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umidomelach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, B'ne'eman atah le'achayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh u'shimcha kadosh, U'kdoshim b'chol yom yalelucha selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Our God and God of our ancestors, may the new month bring us goodness and blessing. Wondrous God, in ancient days, you led our people out of bondage. Redeem us now out of exile from one another, making all Israel a united people. The new month of Tishrei will begin on Sunday. God of holiness, let the new month and the new year bring for us, the whole house of Israel, life and peace, happiness and joy, deliverance and comfort. And let us all say, Amen. We're going to continue silently through to page 25 on your own. You may either do so standing or sitting.
Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. O se shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru Amen.
We invite the lovely Liz Schallenberger for the drosh this evening, as opposed to the other Liz Schallenberger. Yeah. Oh, you're going right down here. Yeah, we're going to save you the steps.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I like the High Holy Days, but don't get me wrong. It's not like I exactly look forward to them or anything. Oops. Okay. I'm going to start over again. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I like the High Holy Days, but don't get me wrong. It's not like I exactly look forward to them or anything. The truth is, they're often tedious and sometimes downright hard. I like them because they bring me back to my right self. I get another chance to shed my blanket of sin and to embrace the beauty of my true nature. I remember that the reason we're on the planet is to take care of ourselves and each other. I recall all of God's gifts and embrace gratitude instead of whining. What a gift. This said, I'd like to chat a bit about this week's Torah portion, Nitzavim. This week, we say goodbye to Moses, one of the best guys ever. After 40 years in the desert, our ancestors were on the precipice of a new life in the Holy Land, which was ever so cool. Moses knows he's not going with his people, and so he gives them one last message from God. He reminds them about their covenant with the Creator and how they are covered from inception to forever. That's a daunting prospect. Moses informs them of all the scary things that will happen if they ignore their part in the covenant, but he also gives them the gift of teshuvah. The sad thing is that after all that time running around in the desert with our people, Moses must have known we were going to screw it up, and Hashem definitely knew. Thus, after being warned by Moses of all the punishments that will occur as a result of being rotten prigs, he also reminds us of God's commitment to take us back when we are truly repentant. It's the ultimate promise of no hard feelings, our sacred right of return to our own and God's good grace. How awesome is that? To err is human. It's what we do. God knows this better than anyone else. That's why he invites us back every year to make good on our promises. He knows we'll fall short, but nonetheless, we get credit for intention and renewed commitment. Every Rosh Hashanah, I put energy in. Oh, wait a second. You're right, Rabbi, this doesn't read right.
It was great the first time. She'll find it.
Every Rosh Hashanah, skip that part. And what's a bummer is it was my favorite line. I'm reminded of my true self and the sweetness of my brothers and sisters, Jew and non-Jew. I invite all of you to join me in this year's spiritual cleansing, and I look forward to showing all of you my true nature and the joy of experiencing yours. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thanks, Liz. I don't know. I'll take the blame. If I can atone on Rosh Hashanah, I'll do my best. We now continue with a special prayer of healing of body, soul, and spirit. And we have our friends who are joining us online. They want us to pray for Louis Frey and Yoletta Frey. And we also have, in addition to those on our long-term list, Jerry Schulman, Ariel Ben Chitrit, Marcy Bolt, and Gregory Heffron. If there are those in our community sitting here who would like for us to offer a prayer for a loved one, you may raise your hand. I'll call upon you. You can mention that name, Harriet. Thank you. Stan. Len. No. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm used to Stan sitting there. Yeah, Paul. Thank you. Liz. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Lanny? Yeah. Thank you. Oh, go ahead. Thank you. So our Mishabaric prayer is found on page 26. It is the Craig Taubman version. For those who wish to, you may please rise or rise spiritually.
Mi sheberach avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak, veYaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, veLeah, uYivarech, v'yirapeh et hacholim. Elna Refanallah, Elna Refanallah, Elna Refanallah, Elna Refanallah. Mi sheberach avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak, veYaakov, Sarah, Rivka, HaCholim.
Please be seated. It's tough because Chris holds on to that note forever.
Just till I sit down.
No, it's, oh, well, it's just fine. So I was reading Liz's drasha this afternoon and just really enjoyed the idea of coming to the High Holy Days a little bit with trepidation, but the idea that we were here together, which as she mentioned is this week's Torah portion where we have that famous line, you are all standing here today, all of you, before Adonai your God, to enter into a covenant and an oath to Adonai your God, which Adonai your God is making with you today. And one of the great rabbinic commentators is, who is the you that you're referring to, and what is the today? And he asks the question of the text, is it the future generations as well? And I think because we read this portion also on the High Holy Days, we know that it does include us year after year, not just our ancestors who were about to cross into the Promised Land thousands of years ago. Well, with that in mind, during the summer I was reminded of the concern that has arisen within the American Jewish community related to the rise of anti-Semitism, and I probably did not give it enough thought just because it seems to me that anti-Semitism is so prevalent throughout history and the history of the Jews that I was asking myself, why should this be so different? But then I happened to recall a book that was published about 25 years ago, written by Alan Dershowitz, called The Vanishing American Jew. And at that time, 25 years ago, he said something quite interesting. Dershowitz claimed that since anti-Semitism was no longer a real threat to the Jewish community at that time, that we will no longer find a common thread that keeps us together. So it's interesting. And additionally, at that time, 25 years ago, there were a few ultra-right Jewish groups that were making the claim at the Reform movement, the Conservative movement, and the Reconstructionist movement that they did not actually represent any form of legitimate Judaism. So any of the adherents of those denominations weren't really Jewish. So I guess, in a way, we can be thankful in 2022 that anti-Semitism is on the rise, and at least there's something that holds us together, a sense of fear. So, despite it all, Jews around the world are going to gather together and stand together beginning this Sunday evening and Monday and declare in a communal voice our love of God, our devotion to Judaism, and our adherence to the values of our faith that have sustained us and kept us together, actually, for thousands of years. And I can only speak from personal experience, been a rabbi for over 3 decades here in southern Arizona, that whenever the ugly head of anti-Semitism has arisen in this community, not only the Jewish, but the Muslim and Christian communities have gathered to our aid and asked in what way can they be of comfort to us in our time of need. And also, in addition, when our local mosques and Muslims have been threatened since 9/11, the Christian and Jewish communities have stood shoulder to shoulder together to be in solidarity with them as well. Listen, my friends, this week's portion in the High Holy Days have set for us a pretty high bar, it would seem, for us to declare full-throated that despite our differences, we are fully going to dedicate our lives and our resources to recommit ourselves to this covenant with God. We declare over the 10-day period, this year will be different than last year. I will fully support the synagogue and all of its efforts to educate our children and our adults and those who want to become Jews. We're going to do it this year. But let's not fool ourselves. You know, I always truly appreciate the effort and the desire to make such declarations that for some of us will be unable to fully and completely dedicate ourselves and wish to do. That really is okay. And perhaps we've never fully committed to it. And I'm telling you, we on this side of the pulpit, we really do understand. But let me tell you, we appreciate the fact that you even show up, even if it's only, and it doesn't include anyone in the room, only twice a year. We really do appreciate that. We appreciate you thinking about doing something more all the time, just thinking about it. You know, you and we derive a benefit from just thinking about it. It's very much like those two farms in the fable that exist side by side. One is well irrigated, the other one thirsts for water all the time. And the thirsty field is bound to get benefit from the watering of the adjoining field, even if the farmer has no intention of watering that adjacent field. It still gets some benefit. Though you may not attend many of the men's events or the women's gathering events that we are going to have during the year, even though you may not choose to join us for the many classes we offer or for the Shabbat and holiday experience and gatherings that we have, you are still benefiting from being watered by what we create as a community, bound by the divine blessings, the bounty of the divine blessings that so many of us receive because we are standing together. Our responsibility as we move forward is to uphold the teachings taught to us, interpreted by us, acted upon by us, to this generation and the next generation. And it's what we are confirming tonight and what we confirm on Rosh Hashanah. Whether you attend physically or you provide the financial resources to allow other people to personally benefit, or you join us occasionally on a virtual platform, or you are part of this family who, despite Dershowitz, despite those who do not recognize us, and despite what appears to us as a fracturing in our civilization, you are all part of an enterprise that has never failed. For others, perhaps, a spark has lit in your soul and you will perceive a hidden truth within the depths of your own personal humanity. And on Rosh Hashanah, perhaps you will discover an element of your authenticity that will arise into your consciousness for maybe, perhaps, the very first time. And my counsel to you is to not be afraid to embrace that authenticity if it does arise and stirs your soul. And by the way, if you come and you don't feel it right now, thank you for coming. Thank you for standing with us, just for the reason that we have always done it this way and we've always done it together. Thank you. You know, your parents, your grandparents, your great-great-grandparents are no different than us. They felt inadequate. They felt that they didn't have enough information. They didn't feel competent. They felt powerless and an inability to succeed from time to time. They felt that the world was against them. They faced unexpected challenges, and yet they stood up together on the High Holy Days, perhaps hoping for an answer from the pulpit or from a voice from heaven to find some resolution, to the problems that they were facing in their daily lives. And yet, whether they received it or not, they came again the following year. We're entering into a new year filled with the same chaos your relatives faced generation after generation. Now, therapists remind us that your beliefs determine how you view yourself in the world you live in. Without beliefs, one can feel very alone and very lost in a world. And so if you believe you are a good for nothing, you don't deserve opportunities given to you, then you will fail. If you experience failure in your life and you believe that is your pattern, then it will become your pattern. And yet, we learn from athletes who have not succeeded at a particular track meet. They don't bemoan their loss for very long. After the event is over, They know which muscle group to strengthen in order to be stronger in the next sporting event that they come to. But tonight, we understand that insecurity is part of our human conditions. Our ancestors felt it. We feel it. Moses did not tell the people to stop feeling that way. He understood that a dose of self-doubt helps us to be humble and maybe monitor our behavior for improvement. But tonight, Moses reminds us, Atem nitzavim, you are not alone. We are standing here. We are standing here together today. We are the resource for everyone else who is standing together. We together are what keeps our religious community together and moving forward, not any one person alone. And we together as a group help those beside us who doubt themselves and are hindered by uncertainty. On this Shabbat, before Rosh Hashanah, prepare yourself to stand up together as one congregation. Beside you will be someone you love. Beside you, there will be someone you don't even know. And in the year to come, the days to come, the dire predictions of Alan Dershowitz will be found lacking, and that we will put aside the notion of the vanishing American Jew. This weekend and next, you'll be reminded of the Jewish values and the virtues that will afford to you the possibility of overcoming obstacles in your daily life. In this very Torah portion, and you can look it up in your pews in chapter 30, verse 6 of Deuteronomy, it says that God will peel away the thickening of your heart that's preventing your blood to flow and rush through your body. It'll take away the obstruction when you understand and you value and you love the virtues of Judaism. Then that hardening of your heart will soften and the blood will flow, and all the barriers you thought were in front of you will ultimately fade away. May you stand up together with all of us. And if you feel in your heart that is now rushing with blood and with energy, if you feel it in your heart and soul, perhaps not only will you stand up, but you will take an authentic step forward into the new year. Shana Tova Tikatevu Umtuka. May you have a sweet and good new year. I'd like to invite Goldie Goldstein, who has the announcements for the week, a member of our Board of Trustees.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you to Rabbi Lockheim and Cantor Cohen for leading services this evening. I want to express my appreciation also to Chris Tackett on the piano. Thank you to Ellen Sollett for her chanting circle this evening. Thank you to Andy and Chuck Elkins for lighting the candles, and to Liz Schallenberger for her wonderful drosh. And finally, thank you to my husband, Larry, for sounding the shofar. Rabbi Cohen is celebrating Shabbat with families at the Tucson Jewish Museum and Holocaust Center this evening. Tomorrow, Torah study will take place at 8:30 a.m., followed by our Shabbat service at 10 a.m. Please be aware that HandyCar does not run on Sundays. Be sure to make alternate transportation arrangements for Erev Rosh Hashanah this Sunday at 7:30 p.m. If you know someone who uses HandyCar, consider carpooling with them or remind them to make arrangement for transport. Check our website to see all our JLL offerings. Next Friday, September 30th, join Rabbi Cohen and cantorial intern Sarah Bolt at the Tucson Pride Parade. Please meet at 6:30 p.m. at the Tucson Jewish Museum and Holocaust Center, where we will have a brief Shabbat experience and then join the parade. There will also be services here at Kol Ami at 6:30. If you haven't already renewed your membership in Kol Ami, I encourage you to do so as soon as possible. Erev Rosh Hashanah services start at 7:30 p.m. this Sunday. Don't forget to bring your ticket and a photo ID. On behalf of the Kol Ami clergy, staff, and Board of Trustees, please stay safe and healthy. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. So I set you up earlier. Are there, what we do every week is we ask for a Shekianu moment, something that was wonderful that occurred to you, maybe not wonderful, maybe pleasant, something that happened to you this week that you would like to share with the community so we can feel as thrilled as you were for that happening. Anyone have something wonderful happen to them this week? Yes. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Wonderful. So 3 women got together to say a Kaddish for your cousin. Lovely support.
That's a mini minion.
But it counts more because it was made up of all women. So that, yeah, there's more to that. Anyone else? Yes. Nice. So let me just say it into the microphone. So it was your day off, and you went to the Museum of Art downtown. Excellent. So
I saw somebody else.
wonderful.
Okay.
That's great. All right, thank you for sharing that, and maybe many of us will go and see that exhibit there as well. One more, anyone else for, yes? So you got a great performance review for your teaching. Excellent. That's
Rabbi,
great.
you missed Kathy Lynn.
Oh, Kathy Lynn, go ahead. Oh, The Lion King last night. Had you seen it before?
I just can't wait to
Unbelievable.
be king. All right, we'll skip.
So what was your give me your impression when you saw these animals coming down the aisle? Wonderful. All right, our Shekianu is on page 61.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
The Elena prayer can be found on page 63. Page 63, please rise.
Do you want to ask people to send in names?
What's that?
Names for Kaddish?
Well,
Okay.
JJ's sending that out.
All right. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל עמונם ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz. Bayom ha'u yeh Adonai echad u'shema echad.
The bottom of page 64, we hope that divisiveness and distortion, pride and prejudice will disappear from our world. Eternal God, we face tomorrow with the hope made stronger by the vision of your realm, a world where poverty and war are banished, where injustice and hate cannot abide. Together, teach us more and more to share the pain of others, to heed your call for justice, to pursue the blessing of peace. Help us, O God, to prevail over all that is evil, so that we may bring near the day when all the world shall be one. Please be seated. There are meditations on page 65 and 66 before the reading of the Kaddish. A reminder for those who are joining us virtually, send those names to JJ that you are reciting for Kaddish or in the comments section on your platform. For those who are saying Kaddish here in our sanctuary for a loved one, for those who wish to, you may come forward and take a pebble in your hand and just hold it for a moment to feel to remind yourself of the impact of that person on your life, and then place it on the table. So when you hear the name of your loved one, you can rise if you wish, or you can wait till the very end. Online, someone is recalling for Kaddish Rosalie Baker. And we also recall at this time those who died within the past 30 days: Estelle Abrams, David Woods, Erwin Sattinger, Stephen Parks, Roz Stein, Arnie Richmond, and Alan Kaminsky. And we link their names with those who died at this season in years past: Rose Agron, Edwin Allen, Chaim Bilgray, Adam Brish, Ruth Brody, Jake Capon, Ben Chesson, Helen Corda, Herbert Craig, Deborah Crane, Honey DeVore, Bernie Dickstein, Albert Fields, Barbara Finlayson, Gershon Flyer, Dora Framer, Jack Friedman, Thelma Goronzig, Ethel Goldberg, Russell Head, Sophia Hellman, Henry Herman, Stanley Hohenstein, Samuel Itkin, Robert Jones, Estelle Cantor, Irving Kaplan, Manuel Kordonsky, Rose Kate, Esther Kivel, Anne Kleiman Jacobs, Stella Leibovitz Baum, David Levin, Bernard Levine, Gary Luck, Elaine Mayers Howard, Judith Millstone, Jay Minnow, Anna Oppenheim, David Palmer, Florence Perez, Anna Rabinowitty, William Rappaport, Rabbi Carl Richter, William Sabota, Herbert Schneider, Donald Schultz, Jay Schwartz, Celia Seal, Francine Shafton, Leon Sherman, Reva Sherman, Richard Glenn Schifrin, Maurice Scheiken, Samuel Silverman, Joseph Sindel, Robin Sowers, Harry Stern, Merwin Tarlov, Meyer Van Prague, Johanna Van Prague, Linche Van Prague, Molly Weiss, and David Wolski. If there are those in our community here who would like to rise and mention a name that was not read, you may rise and mention those names at this time. Harriet.
Carla
No?
Ember.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You can stay standing. So our Cottage Prayer is found on page 67. We ask our community to please join these loved ones as we read the Cottage together.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam ulomei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudisha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. V'imru, v'imru, v'imru. Amen. V'imru, v'imru, v'imru. Amen. Please be seated. We're going to close on page 100 with something cheerful. Yom Zeh Yisrael. This is Israel's day of joy and gladness and rest. Rest is a good thing. Let's make that a little bit higher. Yom Zeh Yisrael, ora v'simcha. Yom Zeh Yisrael, ora v'simcha. Ora v'simcha, ora v'simcha. Ora v'simcha, ora v'simcha. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat menucha.
Has anyone joined us for the very first time? I know one person who's joined us for the first time. If you want to introduce yourself. Yes.
Grandson.
Where are you from? Grandson. Okay, well, that's okay. Oh, good. Nice to have you here. Wonderful. Anyone else join us for the first time? Oh,
Wow.
yep, Suzanne. You got to stand up. You bumped into a rabbi somewhere. We bumped into the drugstore. It's good seeing you. Okay, we are going to continue with the Kiddush and the Motzi.
Here, I don't want both of them.
You have the blue label?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron lemase bereshit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher letzias Mitzrayim kivanu v'charta liotanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ava uvratzon Inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
We give thanks
to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom.
The oneg is in the hall tonight because the side jester is already set up for Rosh Hashanah.
So come and join us.